Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Conversations with Yoders Farm. I'm Eldon and Lowell's here today. It's been a while since we have recorded an episode, so we're here towards the end of July and we thought maybe we should do one, kind of catch things up. So Lowell, welcome to the podcast, and what do we want to talk about today?
Oh, it's good to be here, Eldon, and I feel like I should welcome you to the podcast as well, because I always feel like I'm more welcome than you and
That's fine.
stuff, so I want us to both feel welcome here.
Yeah, everybody's welcome.
Warm welcome.
Yeah.
Yep, so we're here.
July 23rd, did you say?
I think so.
Yeah. Pretty close to the end of July.
When did we recorded right at the end of strawberry season, right?
Yeah, so it's
in the
been
first part of June.
Month and a half or something.
Yeah, backed by popular demand from our rabid fan base. They kept hounding us, so what do you do?
I don't know, I guess you record another episode.
Or I should say our fan. Our fan.
Our singular fan.
Our one fan
single-bladed
wanted us
fan.
to tell us what we've been up to.
Yeah.
So we wrapped up strawberry season, basically. We didn't pick as long as sometimes. I think we closed the pick your own patch pretty much on schedule, but then we have a wholesale patch that we pick for ourselves, mainly Albions, and it's a more cyclical, ever-bearing type of fruit, so we often go. I was actually seeing some, how your phone does the
Memory
thingies, and I saw a picture 3 years ago that I think this was after we were done doing everything, but we still hadn't mowed the plants off, and I'd went up and picked a couple buckets on the 18th of July. But this year we did not get into July at all.
Yeah.
They just were petering out, which is fine. It's that part of the season is not very productive, probably, and you can quickly, I think you can lose ground, because the longer your strawberry plants stay green and growing, then it's a shorter turnaround before you can mow the plants off, get the plastic lifted up. And if you don't get your plastic and your beds back down in a timely manner, you're actually giving up yield for your following year. So
yeah.
Sometimes milking every little drip out of your patch is probably not the best economically. So you got to figure out what works and then be decisive and move on. So anyway, we're working at
being decisive.
Well,
no,
that
we're working at moving
that
on.
happened a while ago.
Point.
The plants have been mowed off, and we're working at getting the old plastic up, which is our favorite job around the farm. And I'm saying that sarcastically because it's not a very pleasant job.
Yeah, especially in the heat of the summer and dry and hot and kind of dusty sort of work. Dirty work.
But it has to happen. So the more dead your plants are, the cleaner your plastic lifts up, the less is left behind in the soil, and just the better all around it goes. So we're working at that, and we will be for the next week or two.
Yeah.
If everything goes according to plan, which it probably won't, but hopefully we can get our strawberry tips sometime during the first 2 weeks of August. And we only start a portion of them ourselves. The rest of them we have a friend grow for us. So hopefully we can get them planted into propagation trays, start our little strawberry plants so that they'll be ready to plant mid-September-ish. Hopefully we can get our beds made in a very timely way this year. Last year we were definitely on the late side. I think we are into September a little ways.
Yeah, it was definitely into September a bit.
which made most of our planting happen like in the first part of October, which
Yeah.
for us is really a couple weeks, probably ideally too late,
Yeah.
or 2 weeks later than would be ideal.
Do you think that's some of why our season went the way it did, as far as kind of a...
It's possible.
Yeah.
Just don't know.
It's a lot
Because
of
you have
variables.
nothing to compare
Yeah,
it to.
exactly.
You know, if you had one field that we would have planted on time
Yeah.
and the other field that we would have planted later, then you could compare it to. But if you're just comparing it to, you know, another grower's patch, another part of the state, it's not necessarily apples to apples.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you doing anything different this year as far as varieties are concerned?
Strawberries.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're dropping our Chandlers just a little bit more again, and we're planting about the same amount of Albions. Actually, for a little bit, I was told that I couldn't get the Albions that I had ordered, so I scrambled around and found an alternate source on those. So I think we'll have Albions this year.
Good.
Doing a few Merced because we tried a few last year and it did well, so we're doing more. And we're going up on Ruby Junes because they seem to do fairly well again for us. So gives the confidence to drop our trusty Chandlers and go to Ruby Junes. Hopefully that's not a mistake.
Hopefully not. It's always a little bit of a gamble, I guess, but an educated gamble.
Yeah, nothing hugely different.
Yeah.
I mean, they keep hearing new varieties, great varieties come down the pipe. Is it the pike or the pipe? I think
you could go either way.
I think we've had this discussion before.
Maybe so.
You need more coffee since you're yawning.
Something. Goodness. Yeah.
Anyway, so probably fairly similar to what we did last year on plants, numbers, and varieties and so forth.
Yeah, hopefully we can get them in a little quicker this year. But
biggest thing we've been doing besides the plastic work was getting the pumpkins all in and situated. End of June, first part of July, we were working on those. Looking pretty good. I think maybe even a little better than last year.
Very good.
So I put a bunch of drip tape down. We're doing more and more just out in the field versus, so we have some old strawberry plastic that we plant pumpkins in, but as we need more and more pumpkins, we are planting more and more just
field
like
pumpkins,
regular out in the field pumpkins. So but we're trying to do it where we can irrigate them with drip tape. Just run a drip tape on top of the ground, but right near the pumpkin stem.
Makes sense.
So we got all that. We got the drip tape down, and then the other day I got it actually hooked up. And I've run a little bit of water. The rain situation has been interesting. It's, we had enough rain through strawberry season that like it was workable. We didn't have like days and days of rain. And in fact, I mean, the spring on average was actually a little dry for a lot of things, which worked out good for strawberry season. But it sort of continued on into summer. Like we're not dry, but we're not wet.
We're not overly.
And it's like we're just teetering on the edge. Like, we've had a few shots of rain over the last 2 weeks, and it's not been a big amount, but it's kind of enough to keep everything going. But this time of the year, you're always a little nervous because you're never that far away from drought.
Too dry,
and too dry. So we're thinking about that, especially in regards to just our row crops, soybeans and corn, and then especially the corn maze, which we do not have irrigation for. Pumpkins, we can irrigate most all of our pumpkins And strawberries, of course, when we get them planted in the fall, we have them set up to irrigate. But certain crops, like our corn maze, is very difficult to irrigate. But it's looking very good. Our corn maze, we got it in, and it's up.
Probably waist high almost.
Close, really close. And it's been kind of hanging right there. Like, it's not twisted up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's got its root down pretty good. And if we get a rain this weekend, an inch of rain, it would quickly go to shoulder or head high. And then you feel like you could stress a little bit less because you kind of got that height that you need.
Yeah. Although August tends to be nice and warm and dry too, so.
Right, but if you can get it head high, the kind of corn that we use, it's made to kind of sit there through periods of dry weather, and then when it gets a rain, it'll
basically once we get
spurt on
to head height, we have covered most people as far as
that's the idea.
Anything beyond
cover
that's
the people.
Just icing on the cake, I guess. But
makes it more difficult for our tall friends if we have a really good tall corn maze. Now I think it makes it more difficult.
Quite tall, right?
Yeah, it makes it more difficult for everybody because the taller it is above you kind of when you can't see out at all, even into the sky, the trees on the edge of the field or whatever. Yeah. It really helps you lose your sense of direction.
Yeah,
so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And we're still finalizing our design.
That's one way to say it.
Various thoughts about what to do.
Yeah, it's always a little bit of a tension between trying to make it cool or look cool from there and trying to just make it complicated. This year we haven't
generally
had as
err
many
on the side of being complicated.
Good ideas as far as things to put in it design-wise, but we'll see. So yeah, corn maze is rolling, pumpkins are rolling, we've wrapped up strawberry season. Tomatoes are kind of wrapping up, yeah. Depending on when you listen to this, we're planning to shut the farm store down here at the end of July for our annual break until the fall season. So yeah, that's coming right up. And then we'll be off till middle of September, so probably when we open back up for the corn maze.
We'll be off?
Off. Yeah, that wasn't the right term. What I meant was closed.
Our farm will be closed,
yeah.
But we'll still be busy?
Yeah, there will be plenty to be done, especially in relation to getting ready for strawberries and the fall season.
Well, the greenhouse have to get cleaned out too from the tomato plants.
Oh yeah, little details.
That's always a fun job. And we'll actually go back within a month, probably, or a little less, with our first crop of little tomatoes.
I thought we talked about this. I thought you weren't going to do that this year. It's quick.
I don't think I got that memo.
Okay.
Yeah, we're getting some plants from the guy that grows our strawberries, Dr. Alan Straw.
Okay, interesting.
And we'll grow a fall crop of tomatoes in that little greenhouse.
Okay.
BHN 589 determinants.
Good to know. Good to know.
Hopefully have them in November.
Fascinating.
You hadn't known that?
No. Last I heard, we were going to take a month and a half off. Close for a month and a half till January or so.
Nah. I don't think we ever did.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't think we had ever planned that.
Yeah. Well, I'm 92% sure.
Good thing we did this podcast, so now you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. That's
or we
probably
could
something we should
make
talk
the
about
decision here on the podcast.
Anyhow. So yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else we need to catch people up on?
Did you want to get into the vaccine at all?
Probably not.
Okay.
No.
Any political things you need to talk about on the podcast?
No.
No, don't want to really go there.
Guess the NBA Finals just wrapped up.
Yeah.
I don't really know anything about that, but
Yeah, probably don't want to make any other fans mad, so we should maybe stay away from that one too.
yeah, I didn't have a dog in the fight, so I didn't really care.
You didn't have a dog in the fight?
What a dumb saying.
A dog chasing the Bucks.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it from the farm.
Since we're not going to delve into controversial territory, I did want to ask you this question. I had a question to ask you. I've been thinking about this for a while.
I might have to remove this from the podcast.
But... You won't. So, since we've been doing...
Is that my phone ringing or your phone?
It's mine.
Okay.
Since we've been doing this for a while...
Yeah.
If you were, let's say, you and somebody else bought a farm somewhere, I don't know where, Georgia, Illinois, New Jersey, I don't know, some random place.
Yeah.
And you had the farm. It was nice, kind of modest sized farm. And you're going to try to, and it was reasonably close to population center. So you're going to do what we do here.
Mm-hmm.
How would you figure that out? What would you do? How would you start?
Well, I'd probably start with the corn maze and the fall stuff. Just because you could probably get into some of that stuff a little cheaper and with less initial investment in infrastructure. I don't know.
So
it would kind of depend what time of year you're talking to. Like if you're...
I don't know.
Yeah.
June.
Yeah.
You closed on the farm in June.
Yeah, well, I would have hoped to have planted the corn maze a little before that, maybe. Or right about then. Yeah, I don't know. Probably something like that. Would you
start out with the same size corn maze like we have?
Well, there's just a lot of variables, isn't there?
Yeah. Well, I was just like, we've kind of just...
Well, so the reason I'd say the fall stuff, it's something you can do. There's... numbers vary quite a bit, but you could probably get everything ready for a fall season for 10 to 12K maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then hopefully
your return on investment,
get most of that back the initial first year, and then you're building an audience for whatever you want to do for the following spring. If you want to do strawberries or
that's sort of opposite of what we did here.
Yeah,
we did strawberries first. We did 2.5 acres or so of berries.
But we eased into them. We didn't plant 4 acres right away.
Well, actually, we first did like 1,000 or 2,000, and then
plants.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, not acres.
Yeah, I just want to make sure the unit of measurement was noted.
The thing that we had some retail going on here at the greenhouse to sell tomatoes, so it was a little bit different. And strawberries meshed very well with that.
Yeah.
Whereas tomatoes, fall stuff didn't. And then because I
hope that's not an important call.
Because it's Dad. He's wondering where I'm at.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're recording a podcast. You want to come up and join us? Okay. All right. No, I'll come mess with it here in a little bit.
We should have a sponsor for breaks in the action like this.
You could sing.
I guess if anyone wants to sponsor the podcast, let us know. But
I would like Red Wing to sponsor the podcast. Red Wing boots.
Yeah.
Durable, gritty, dependable, comfortable, made in the USA. Is that true?
I don't know. I think I would just say etc.
Helping farmers feed the world.
helping farmers feed themselves.
Well, that too.
And the world.
While they feed the world.
Yeah.
I like my Red Wing boots.
Yeah,
I think this is
too.
the 5th pair that I've had.
Good boots.
Over 8, 10 years?
I don't know.
Can usually get
I don't keep track of your boot history.
Year and a half out of them.
Yeah.
Anyway. So, back to your farm, your hypothetical farm. So you would start with the fall. You would plant an acre of pumpkins.
Just because it feels like the risk level is lower.
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
I don't know.
What would you plant strawberries that fall for the following spring?
Maybe, but I probably wouldn't do a ton. I mean,
but it'd be really hard to really make a living off of just a fall season.
Well, any of this, you're talking 2 years to get anywhere near.
Yeah, but let's say you wanted to grow your agritourism business to where you wanted to, do it full time, which obviously you wouldn't. But let's say hypothetically you would enjoy doing this full time.
Yeah.
So then would you plant strawberries that fall?
Well, you have to do something. I mean, corn maze and pumpkins aren't going to pay for it.
Right. So you're going to start out with an acre of strawberries?
I mean, I guess if you're going to try to repeat what we've done here.
Well, I don't know. I just think, what would you do?
Well, I wouldn't.
Fair enough. Would you'd put up a greenhouse. That's what you do, and raise tomatoes.
I don't think so. Matter of fact, I don't think I'd do the fall stuff if it was up to me.
Let's say theoretically, though.
Yeah, I get that.
Okay, maybe you're trying to advise your friend.
Yeah.
You're still working your job.
Well, I would tell them not to quit their job yet.
But he really wants to farm.
Yeah. Man, it's hard. First of all, you're borrowing a ton of money to buy the farm, probably. Especially if you're anywhere near any population.
Yeah.
Everything you do on a farm, there's major outlaying of money before you make any money. Whether it's fall stuff or strawberries or greenhouses.
Who told me this?
Whatever.
Someone told me that someone said the easiest way to make $1 million farming is to have $2 million and then lose $1 million.
Yeah.
Sounds
I've heard that it's
reasonable.
funner to farm with money than without money, or to make money or something like that.
Yeah, that's true. If you had 100 acres with no buildings, no nothing, your initial investment would be pretty expensive. But it is true, if you did the fall things, our fall infrastructure is fairly, shall we say, light.
Yeah.
We actually use a big tent, and it's very seasonal.
Yeah. Now you could do something.
You could put a pole building up or something. I think you could
put
have
up hoop buildings or something. It could be used both fall and spring.
A big pole building that you could use fall and spring. That would make sense.
Yeah.
And then you kind of start working around that.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of our buildings around here aren't even. They're more in the bigger farm scheme. They're not really
storage and livestock stuff.
Yeah.
Hay, whatever. I don't know. It's just like everything. There's so many variables, and then
I'd probably plant an acre of berries.
Yeah.
So that'd be a reasonable size. You wouldn't want to get a lot bigger, and hopefully you just get swamped with people.
Yeah.
Probably that's what would happen, but you kind of just have
I think you could probably do an acre as long as you have enough people around.
Yeah, and the first year you probably have to be a little careful. You might, it would seem like you would advertise like crazy, but I'm not sure if you did too much of that. It depends a lot. I think we're assuming that there would be less people than what we have here. We're 15 minutes from Lynchburg, which has a lot of people.
Yep, lots of variables.
But then, you have your corn maze. You may plant an acre and a half of pumpkins, and you kind of ease into it that way. An acre of strawberries. You do pick your own strawberries.
any of these things, like you're gonna have a couple of years till you're making any decent income off of.
Well, till it's actually starting to pay for your
that's
investment.
What I mean. Yeah.
much less having enough
the
to live on.
100 acres you just bought too.
Yeah. So you probably actually would have to kind of do that on the side.
Yeah.
Maybe have a job that you would.
You'd have to figure something out.
Mm-hmm. Work for somebody else.
I almost think like it would be horrible, but you could probably do strawberries, an acre of strawberries and a corn maze and some fall stuff and sort of still have a job.
Yeah, I know some people who do that.
Yeah.
They don't have a life either.
No, well, you don't either.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, at our point, at where we are now, we've grown enough that it takes, like, you couldn't do it all and have a full-time job too.
You wouldn't have enough time.
Yeah.
But we have a number of enterprises going here besides the agritourism thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's not
the tomatoes.
It's not just the fall
row crops,
stuff,
the cattle,
and the strawberries. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it'd be really hard to start all of those things at the same time, and
it'd be brutal.
Keep up
yeah.
And then even pay yourself. I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, maybe just start a food truck.
Yeah. But like as what I would tell anyone who wanted to get into, like there's kind of a fine line. You have to do it in a big enough way that it's sustainable and that like you're in it for the long haul. I mean,
yeah.
But you can also get too. I know you've seen a lot of people get too big, too quick.
Yeah.
Borrow a lot of money and then you're leveraged pretty hard. And
some of it's just our philosophy on
true.
Things like
on life.
No, not necessarily that, but like, yeah, I wouldn't feel comfortable taking $1 million loan, buying 100 acres of land and diving into this. But
that'd be pretty stupid.
Well, that's how we think. But there are other people who are like, hey, it's $1 million investment. We're going to make this work. And there are people that do that and make it work. I wouldn't be able to. It would stress me out to no end. But there's other ways to do it. Like you can ease into it.
If you were near a big population center, I think you could spend the money and you'd be almost assured of having people come.
Yeah. I just feel like if you go in with a big whack, the like it either has to work or it doesn't work. And I've seen more situations where it hasn't worked, and then the other way where it's a farm, family, or something ease into it a little more.
Well, some of the time too, I think people jump around from one thing to the other instead of just settling on something and having it grow. Like, if you tried strawberries 2 years and you had rainy years and just gave up on that and tried something else, like you're not really building up any sort of customer base. Like there's something to be said for just plugging along and doing the same thing and whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of, or not a lot. There's kind of this idea in photography, which I've always been interested in. No photographer starts out taking world-class images. They have to take 100,000 bad pictures before they
and then they finally figure that's derogatory to call them pictures, that you're making images.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that was a weird conversation, weird tangent.
Yeah. I'll just cut it all off here. Just kidding, I'll probably do it here.
I don't care. I was just like, sometimes we think about things from where we are, but we were an existing farm.
Yeah.
And so,
well, we were able to ease into it because of the cows and
because of some other things we were doing.
Some other things, yeah.
But yeah.
I don't know. Any farmer starting today has my sympathies. I mean, it's a long, hard road to hoe.
Well, and it depends what you're going to do too. I mean, if you're crop farming,
Yep.
Well, there you have lots of expense and land and
Yeah.
Well, let's bail on this podcast.
All right. Well,
since we're here.
Yeah. Well, if you've made it this far in the podcast, I'd just like to apologize for anything that you've heard that was awkward and weird, but here we are. No, thanks for listening. I guess if you have something you'd like us to talk about in a future episode, you can give Lowell a call. No, shoot us an email. We might talk about something if we have an interesting topic brought up or something. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess we'll try to have another episode in a number of weeks or a month or something.
Or whenever we get around to it.
That's right.
Since we're so busy farming.
That's right.
Saving the world.
All right.
Feeding the world.
We'll talk to you again some other time. See ya.